for you. They cost me $10, but if you want to take them, feel free to do that. These are the meditation books actually for young people and young at heart, so that if you know songs and movies and you're into that, then this is what you do. There are two for both of them for $5. And of course, I'd like you to take a bookmark with you, and because it has my website and also my email address. And then if you want to order more books, the order form is right there. So that is my way of advertising. We talked about what we have been talking about the last three, this being the third time that we have met. What we want to talk about basically is I'd like to review a little bit with you and then do some very practical things for you that I would suggest. The review is really very simple because I believe that the spiritual life, as much as it may be very difficult, and it is a very difficult thing because you've got to work at it consistently, it is something that is basically very simple. It is centering your life around Jesus Christ and making that the desire of your life. And if you manage to do that by, I say, reading the New Testament, especially the Gospels, and taking the time to do that, then you're going to be able to do it. And if you do that, you're going to be able to figure out that there are certain things in your life that you need to address, most of them dealing with selfishness, most of them dealing with the idea of you want what you want, as we all do. That's something that we all have a rough time with. And we've got to attack that. And the problem, of course, with that is that we're all over 40, and it's psychologists, well, not all of us, but some of us are, most of us ain't. And psychologists, if they are right, that you can't change anybody over 40. I agree and I disagree. I agree because it is very difficult to do that, to turn things around, because it just doesn't happen real well. But you can do something, and so I always talk about being able to go into the spiritual life wounded, in the sense that we're scarred by the life that we lead. And even as wounded people, and remembering the movie Karate Kid, even as wounded people, we will be able to win the battle. And that's a very good image of the spiritual life. It is, we're wounded, but we can still win. And we can still gain a little bit whenever we're trying to be better people. What I want to do tonight is hopefully say to you, you got to change a little bit. I'm not going to ask for a major change at all. I don't think that retreat masters can do that, where I can say to you, all right, from now on, I want you to spend an hour of prayer every day and blah, blah, blah. I don't think you can do that. But I think that you can change a little bit. And that's the mission, sort of resolution that I'd like to leave you with. Our scripture tonight, what I'd like to do is a very familiar one to you. It's the prodigal son. And I am going to tell it, first of all, and then finish it off with the way that St. Luke does it. I like the title, The Lost Son, because the son is lost. Or I like the title, The Prodigal Father, actually, because it's the father who is really the image that you got to remember in this. You all know the story. Jesus tells it with the idea of you've got two sons. Two sons have a desire to go out. One to stay there and continue working, and the other says, give me my share of the inheritance, and I want to go out and want to live it up. And the parent, the father, allows that to happen, and he does exactly that. He goes out and has a very good time with life, but he soon runs into all kinds of difficulties. And the difficulties have to do with he spent all of his money, and so he is resorted to begging some money in order to live. And he has to go to a pig farm, which is an interesting thing for the Israelite people because they wouldn't have liked that at all. So he goes there, and he actually wanted to eat, not the pigs so much, but he wanted to eat what the pigs were eating. And he realized, this is stupid. I've got a father at home who's probably a little bit too good to me, so I'm going to want to go back, and I will. I'll go back. And he practiced a speech that he was going to say to his father, and he comes back, and the father sees him from a distance. And that's an interesting point. It is the prodigal father. The father is the image of God. And what God is doing is looking for the person to come back. Always looking and wanting that person to come back. And he actually, when he sees him, he actually runs to him. In the idea of Israelite community, the father would not run. That's just not, that is something that you downplay. But he runs to him. Jesus says that he runs to him, and he hugs him, and he kills the fatted calf, and he has a great big party. Probably he was used to partying, so he knew something about partying. And the other son is the one that I want to concentrate on, because that's the one who comes along and he hears what is happening. So he calls a servant and asks him what this might mean. And the servant said to him, well, your brother has returned, and your father has slaughtered the fattened calf, because he has him back safe and sound. He became angry. And when he refused to enter the house, his name was Jonah, by the way. You don't know this Jonah, but he was a person that was sulky. He was very angry with regard to it. He refused to come into the house. His father came out. The father not only goes out to reach the prodigal son, but he goes out to the one that is also sulky, that is not feeling good about anything at all. And he pleaded with him. He said to his father in reply, and this is the son, look, all these years I served you, and not once did I disobey your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat to feast on with my friends. But when your son returns, who swallowed up your property with prostitutes, for him you slaughter the fattened calf. He said to him, my son, you are here with me always. Everything I have is yours. But now we must celebrate and rejoice, because your brother was dead and has come to life again. He was lost and has been found. And then you want the Lord to finish that story, and he doesn't. The story is finished right there. And it's sort of like the Jonah story, because you don't know what he did. What did the guy do? What would the brother do? You know, can he change? I mean, he's made his statement already. I'm not going to take part in this. a horrible person because he wanted what he wanted. This prodigal son's brother could be such a horrible situation, a horrible person, because he wanted what he wanted. That's us. We want what we want. And the thing that to work on a little bit is to go outside of our little boxes, our own selfish little boxes, and reach out and be able to figure out whether there is something else that can be done with our lives. So it is a change. I hope that you make a change, but it's not going to be a big change. And I'd love for you to make a little change. I may be all wet on this, but I am convinced that if you can get just this many in here, just you, to change a little bit, then wherever you are, Plano, Kansas is going to be a little bit different. Where Stockton, Kansas is going to be a little bit different because you're different. And I use the image last night of the co-op here in Plainville. I don't know whether is there a co-op in Plainville? But as I went out of town this morning, I saw the first stop or the short stop. You've got a place like that, and I looked inside, and there's some of the good old guys were around the table there, and I can just well imagine that, what we're talking about in there, you know? And what we're talking about generally is going to be, what's going on in the world, but every once in a while you go into something which is not very good at all. And you say some things that really you shouldn't say, and I can imagine one of us going in there who is influenced by this mission, and they start talking about Joe Blow, and Joe Blow is a mean son of a gun, and your response is, he's not so mean sometimes. And they look at you as if you're nuts. Well, that is what I would love to see happen. It is a marvelous thing to be able to do that. And that's the way influence, that's the way towns change. They change by people who are willing to do something. And I have a lot of stories that I could tell about that, but they'd go all night, and I don't want to do that. One of my favorite stories that we use with youth all the time is this one. It was a very dark night. A ship's rather proud captain cautiously piloted his battleship through fog. And all of a sudden, he looked out into the ocean, and there was a bright light straight ahead on radar. It was on a collision course. And the captain knew what to do in that, so he radioed the oncoming vessel. He said, "This Captain Jeremiah Smith, please alter your course 10 degrees south." Over. And to the captain's amazement, the image did not move. It just kept coming. And he heard on the radio, he said, "Captain Smith, this is Private Thomas Johnson." He says, "I suggest that you alter your course 10 degrees north." Over. Well, he's appalled at the audacity of that private, his captain. And he shouted back over the radio, "Private Johnson, this is Captain Smith, and I order you to immediately alter your course 10 degrees south." Over. Again, the light did not budge. And the private replied, a little less forcefully this time, in an almost begging way, says, "With all due respect, Captain Smith, I have to ask you to alter your course immediately 10 degrees north." Over. I'm totally angry, very afraid of a collision, knowing that this private could endanger all of that ship and the lives of his men, not about to listen to this private at all. The captain screamed over the radio, "Private Johnson, I will have you court-martialed for this. States government to alter your course 10 degrees to the south. I am a battleship. And immediately the private replied, now really shook. Captain Smith, sir, once again, with all due respect, you have to alter your course 10 degrees to the north. I am a lighthouse. A little bit. 10 degrees, that's all. Just a little bit. Just alter a little bit. And that's my plea. I think that if we are to become better people, that we have to see that there is a way that we can do that, and we don't have to be great saints or have to take the discipline or whatever it is in order to make ourselves better. We don't have to do that at all. But we can be a lot better than we are. And so let me play David Letterman. And I'm not going to be as funny or as dirty as he is, but I will give you 10 things, and I have those on the sheets that I'm going to give you a little bit later on. The top 10 ways of the spiritual life, of the way to gain the spiritual life. And before I go there, before the top 10, I've got to tell you that there are 2 prerequisites. And they're prerequisites that I believe everybody in here should be working with. One is attending Mass, and I say really attending Sunday Mass. Really attending is a lot different than just attending. And the sacrament of reconciliation, which is confession. I say every 3 or 4 months. Let me say just a couple words about those. Those are the 2 prerequisites that I gave you. Mass, some practical thoughts. Sit up front. No, not everybody can sit up front, I know that. But I say sit up front. Why do I say that? Because I'm going to take away the temptation for you to look around. And what we do whenever we come to a place like this is we have a tendency to look around at everybody else. And whenever we're looking around at everybody else, we notice who's here and who's not here. And you all know each other very well. And so you're all aware of who's there. And, oh, where he is, sister. I'm okay. And so you have this in your head. And you start making judgments or start doing some thinking about it. You've got to, this Mass is the most important part of your spiritual life, really, during the week that you're going to have. And it's a very important time in your life. I say use the missalette for music or for the readings if you don't understand the lecture. I love to have conversations with people who tell, well, I can't understand that lecture. And my response all the time is, well, can you read? You can pick up a missalette, can't you? Well, yeah, you don't have the greatest of lectures, I know that, because people aren't. But you can read what the readings are. I mean, it's quite possible to do that. And the other, I don't sing. I no, never have sang. Can you read? Well, yeah, I can read. Well, can you pick up the missalette and do some reading and see what they're singing? Well, I guess I could do that. But yeah, you can do that. That's really what it's all about, that you're into the whole community thing. The new Mass, I have some strong criticism of the new Mass from the point of view of your answers. I don't think they should ever change those. Pope Benedict did not at all consult me on this. He did not give me a call at all. So you do have that change. I don't think he should change it. But boy, I out to you soon, because the words are really, really great, and they're beautiful. And I know they are moving me as I am into the new Mass there. I still have a rough time with them with your spirit, you know, I have a real time with that, but that's beside the point. I think you should work with the Mass by having a Thanksgiving afterwards, by having a little bit of preparation for it. Many of you have young people that you have to bring to Mass, and young people, of course, many times have no idea what in the world's going on. Good luck. You know, bring them. I am the type of priest that says bring them. I have no problem with that. If your kid screams, I can scream louder. You know, I can do that. But there are some priests who have a rough time with that at all. I say celebrate your life with Mass. Wedding anniversaries, I think that's marvelous whenever you do that. Baptism day, birthday, first date. I love that. I say that to the young people all the time, that you ought to go to Mass. That's your first date. People are all excited about that. But it is a good thing to have happen. I say Tete Messaletta. Those Word Among Us are just marvelous books. Take one, take one home with you, not only so that you have the readings, but also the different parts as well. And I say reconciliation, the sacrament of confession. Try to go every 2 or 3 months, and you'll have that opportunity many times to do that. Priests are always willing to hear your confession on a private basis, by appointment. We're more than willing to do that, and all you've got to do is ask us, and we'll arrange it. So, the 2 prerequisites before the top 10 spiritual helps are Mass and reconciliation or confession. My top 10. Number 10, be strong in your convictions, but be kind in carrying them out. Be strong in the way that you feel. And we are, as Catholics, we feel pretty strongly about some things. But be very, very kind in the way that you carry them out. Because there are people who don't agree with you. And there are people in our world who are constantly arguing. And I mentioned the politicians the other night, and that's basically what I'm talking about. We all have opinions about things, and they are different from the ones that we might have. We're all Jonas. We really are. Our middle name is Jonah. It is. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Because we are people who have very strong opinions. And we want to get them across because we want what we want. And we forget about, so many times we forget about the very essence of what we are trying to do as people. This is a true thing that happened to me, as many of you know, Lawrence. They have a small university there in Lawrence. And I was the pastor of St. John's. And St. John's is a relatively upbeat parish, but they also have some very conservative things that happen too. And this one man there at 11 o'clock Mass in the morning was, on Sunday morning, was always a very upbeat Mass. It was, you had drums, and you had guitars, and you were dancing down the aisle. They wanted me to do that. I never was really one for dancing, but we had a lot of that very, very happy stuff. And so we did that. And I remember going out at that particular one of these Masses and going down greeting people. Oh, how are you afterwards? One lady came down, and I could see that I was in trouble right away because she was not happy at all. And she was coming right at me, and so I said, all right, Scully, get ready, here it comes. And she let me two people with very strong opinions about something, and they weren't kind at all. You know, you've got to try to be kind to everybody as you work on whether you are a Christian or not. Whatever it might be. What we need is objectivity. What they needed to, what is the Mass? The Mass is not the celebration, the outside of it. Mass is the ability to realize that Jesus Christ has redeemed us, the center of our religion coming to us. The greatest gift in the world that we have. The greatest gift in the world. And they both missed it. They didn't understand that at all. And so many people do that. You hear how stupid this is. If you are convinced that what happens at that altar is just absolutely the greatest thing in the world, which Catholics should do, because that is the redemption of the world, which we celebrate, which we take part in. And then you have people who are so mad at a pastor or the church or the bishop or whatever that they leave the church. You're going to leave God. That doesn't make any sense at all. And yet people do it because they don't understand. They don't understand what they're talking about. And because they don't have the knowledge at all. The church is the means to the spiritual life. It is not the spiritual life. What happens in here is the means for you to become holy and for you to come better. And hopefully that will be something that you do. So be strong in your convictions, but be kind and carry them out. Try to attend weekday Mass every once in a while. And a weekday Mass is the opportunity to concentrate on the words and to listen to what is being said. Try to go every once in a while. And again, you can do it. You really can do it. It's just a matter of getting yourself into the pattern of doing it. Plan 1 or 2 retreat days of the year to go off by yourself to read a spiritual book and pray. You're gonna say, I can't do that. I don't have that kind of time. Yes, you do. You can arrange anything if you want to. And what it means is that you're going to say, this is so important to me that I am going to go to the Holiday Inn in Kearney, Nebraska, and I am going to just stay there, and I'm going to take this spiritual book, and I'm going to read it. And I'm going to pray. And that's all I'm going to do. And then you come back. That is the way to grow in the spiritual life. I have real good friends in Hayes who always spent their wedding anniversary in Kearney, Nebraska. That's the reason why that was in my mind. They went up to Kearney, Nebraska. I said, well, what's in Kearney, Nebraska? Because neither of them are from Nebraska. They said nothing. And not, listen to slam to Kearney, Nebraska, but it was a place for them to go where they're not going to reach out to anybody. It's just themselves. That's all they're going to do. So, I say plan a couple of retreat days. The Capuchin Center for Spiritual Life in Victoria is a tremendous place for that. Number 7, be interested in your extended family, especially those who are 18 and under. And those of you who know me know that I would say that. And that's the reason why I wrote that book, The Message of Youth. Our young people are the most precious things in the world that we have in this world. And we've got to treat them with the highest respect. And so parents and grandparents and godparents and adult ministers have got to see how important they are and how important statement always, it just haunts me all the time, that any time that you're working with young people, the young person is saying, as Avril Lavigne says in that song, is anyone trying to find me? Is anybody trying to find me? And that's a pathetic question, because you should want to have people that are there, that are always present to you. And young people especially need that. And so I say, be interested in it. Go to a game. Go to something that they're involved in. In that same category, there are family relationships in every single person's life that are probably a mess in one way or another. No matter wherever you are, every family has some type of a mess. I look at it as your job, as a result of this mission, that if this is the one thing that happens as a result of this mission, you're going to do it. I'm going to make up to my brother. I haven't said a word to him for 10 years. And I don't intend to. But, you know what you said tonight, Reverend? Maybe that's what I am. My mother-in-law is a real... but maybe I should say a couple words. Maybe I should reach out. They never reached out to me, but maybe that's what I ought to do. There is some... Get what I'm saying right now. I'm not a great predictor, or I can't read minds. But in your family right now, there is a situation waiting for you. I don't care who you are, because it's everybody. Fix it. Try it. You probably won't be able to do it, but try to do it. You know, that the brother who you haven't talked to him for 10 years, all of a sudden you do, you go up and say hi to him, and he says, what do you want? That whole thing of, hang in there. Number 6, find 1 or 2 areas where you can volunteer. Volunteer means you do something for which you do not get paid. That's what a volunteer is. And so that you can't really expect anything in the way of something back. There are all kinds of situations just around here where you can do that. People need help all the time. And all you got to do is go up to them and say, hey, can I help some way? I can't do this every week, can I? Maybe I can do something here for you. Maybe I can do some volunteer work in the church or in the school or wherever it might be. Volunteer. That's the name of stewardship. That if God has given to us, we want to give back to God. In the same category, I have to put stewardship of money. Money, I chose to talk about money the other night because that's a very difficult thing for us. Because we like to think in terms of our own money and what we have made and the fact that we have to save and so forth. And what I say to you is to work toward that stewardship ideal, which is tithing, which is 10%. And the way that it's set up is 5% to the church, 4% to a charity, 1% to the diocese. And of course, I'll get radical here because people will say, I don't like that church. Well, that's fine. Give it to someplace else. But you've got to give it. In Lawrence, Kansas, at that same church, I literally received in the mail hundreds of dollars. You don't send that through the mail. But I got hundreds of dollars every month in the mail. I don't know where that came from. I had no idea where it came from. Didn't have a note, nothing. All it was sent to me, Pastor, St. John. And I opened it up, 500, 700, 1,000. This is incredible. I got a note one time, and the note was written in kids' script. that he had to give back somehow to God or whatever. But he had that in his mind, or she had it in his mind, that this is what you had to do. That's just incredible. But try to go 541, or here you have Cali School here in Plainville. Try to go whenever we do that. I say 811 because 8% has got to be to the school, 1% to the diocese, 1% to another charity. That's what you do, you know. You give me money, people give me money. I'm not volunteering to do this because you give me money to do this. But what I do, I'll tell you that. I'm going to give 10% of what you give me away. And I've got to do it. That's what has to be for me. The Catholics, we have vowed poverty. And most of the religious orders are the same way. They will give away what they receive. They'll give 10% of what they do. Our order doesn't. I remember being provincial and giving away. We had the greatest time doing it. We didn't have money, enough money. But we were giving away $80,000 a year because that was the time. Man, people lined up for that, you know. All right, they said this little thing. You remember you give us I will give it to you. Because that's what you got to do. So I feel strongly about wanting to work with, that's all you have, right? You can volunteer time and talent, but mainly it's money. And what do you do with that money? You know, you got to ask that. It's what the Lord said. What's really important in your life. Number 5, practice random acts of kindness and thank yous to people when they don't expect it. People you like, or people you don't like, whatever. You know, that you give them a little gift, whatever. And you just do that. I had a friend who has since passed away, but did this. He was just an amazing guy. He would take $10 worth of quarters, and he would go to all of the playgrounds around the area, and he would take these $10, and he would just sort of put them just under the sawdust or under the sand a little bit. And you can imagine these little kindergarten people and first graders, they find a quarter. My gosh, it's just an amazing thing. And it made their day. He went up to this the pay booths, the toll booths on I-70 and so forth, these interchanges. He went up to the toll booth and he gave $20 with his ticket to the guy who was taking it. He said, this is for me and for my brother back there. He's in the car back there. And the guy took it and said, okay, very fine. And he took it. And the next car came and said, hey, your brother already paid for you. And the guy looked at him and said, my brother? I don't have a brother. He said, well, that guy just paid for you. Well, he said, not only did he pay for you, I'm going to give you back money. He gave him the money. He said, because I can't keep it, I'm going to give it to somebody else. Random acts of kindness that you would do a letter to somebody that would just say, you know, you're a pretty good guy, and I like what you do, and be able to do that. Number 4, develop some formal devotions in your life. And that means we do the rosary, we do the Stations of the Cross, we do formal devotions. They're good. They're very good. And for us to concentrate on them is to work at it and try to do it. It's a tremendous thing for our Catholic heritage. Do spiritual reading. Number 3, fortified by adult education. If you get a chance to be educated in the faith and whatever you do, Father Galen had that out there, and I'm sure that that's what's going to happen into the future too. You'll have a chance to do some spiritual reading. And if you don't know spiritual books, that's the value of that bookmark. My email address is on there. You can email me. I will be happy to even buy you a spiritual book if you want, because we need that type of thing. We need to have that reading in our lives. And I believe also in journaling, being able to write down some things every once in a while. one is take the time to do it. Those are the top two that I would say, the hints to the spiritual life. You want to lead a spiritual life, that's what you do. You pick up the gospel, you get that word among us, and you read what the gospel of the day is, and you look at what it means to you. What's it say to me? And why is it saying that to me? So what have we done? What we have done in this presentation is we've said that if you want to be a better spiritual person, then what you've got to do is to take your map of reality and you've got to rewrite it with the bias of Jesus Christ. That's what you've got to do. And in order to rewrite it with the bias of Jesus Christ, you're going to have to attack selfishness in your life. And if you're going to attack selfishness, you're going to want to get rid of that. And you'll never get rid of it completely, but you will be able to put a little dent in it so that you'll be able to work at that spiritual life in a wounded way, as I said. And we went through little hints of the way to do it. And you can come up with your own. Come up with your own way of being able to attack this of the spiritual life. I want to close with a song. And I'm not going to play it because you're adult human beings, and adult human beings probably don't like rock music, generally speaking. But it is a rock song. And I'm not going to sing it because it wouldn't do me any good to sing it anyway. My voice does not sound like Katy Perry's at all. But Katy Perry is the person that is the author of this song. And as I mentioned before, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that she writes. Although she's very right on. She was her life is interesting, a very, very interesting life. She grew up as a religious person, and not a Catholic, but a religious person. And she sort of, in her writing, she rebels against that a little bit, or does a little bit of rethinking about it. So it's always very interesting to look at what she comes up with. But this one is an absolutely unbelievable song. It's called Firework. And I would really love for you to either talk to a young person who knows the song, or to get it. It's on her album, Teenage Dream. You can forget all the other parts to that, but just pick out Firework and just listen to it. Do you ever feel like a plastic bag drifting through the wind, she says and sings, wanting to start again? Do you ever feel so paper thin, like a house of cards, one blow from caving in? Do you know that there's still a chance for you? Because there's a spark in you, every one of you. You just got to ignite the light, let it shine, just own the night like the 4th of July, because you're a firework, showing what you're worth. You're original, cannot be duplicated. It's always been inside of you. And now it's true, it's time to let it through. Maybe you're the reason why all the doors are closed above that line. Maybe you're the reason why all the doors are closed. So you can open one that leads you to the perfect road. My commentary is this, that you can read on my website. It's a song about potential, what we can be in the future. She is singing that we can be so much more than we are now, and we should not be discouraged with our lack of accomplishments. The focus of her song is that every one of us can discover our potential, and no matter what our circumstances in life, we can ignite the spark of life and the possibility of life within us. The video to the song, I don't know whether you know that or not, but most of the songs have videos that are connected with them. You can always get them on YouTube, and some of them are not so nice. But this one has a great video that depicts a negative situation, but they turn into positive statements because the people in question discover the spark within them and do something about the negatives in their lives. Of course, there are some people who refuse to ignite the spark, but the choice is ours because the spark is ours. It is present within us. God created it that way. Our lives can be better. Truly, there is nothing that can block the spark of life from igniting if we want it to. And then strong words here, and I really mean them. No matter how old, wrote that for me. No matter how old, how young, how handicapped, how put down, how negative life treats us. No matter what we have suffered, no matter what is happening at the present time, no matter what things have gone wrong or are going wrong, there is a spark within us that can ignite if we want it to. And every one of us can be the firework that can change the negatives of life into positives. All we have to do is ignite. That's what we've got to do. And I have to leave on that note. And it's a very positive note. A very positive note. You have the power within you to change your spiritual life. Maybe not a lot, but a little. And you can accomplish great things if you want to. I hope that you want to. Let's bow our heads in prayer. Lord Jesus Christ, you are present within us, and we believe that with all of our hearts. We believe also that we must do things in our world that you created. And you guide us to do those things. And every one of us, no matter who we are, will be able to do it. We ask for that grace and the grace to take home with us what you have given to us in the Scriptures and what can make us better people. We ask these things in your name, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. We have here an outline of everything that I've talked about, and I've made enough of these. I'm going to need help for people to hand them out. You just sort of hand them out to everybody and whatever you've got. And what I've tried to do is to put each of the talks down there with the notes on them. And I gave you the 10 steps to a spiritual life. And on the back, I've got my web address and my email address all through it. And on the back is a prescription for Word Among Us, if you're interested in that. If there are some who are not here and you wanted to take some for them, I think we have enough. I printed a bunch of them. And once again, take a bookmark and a brochure, should you so desire. And the books are still up there. If you want to pay for any of them, that's just fine. And I'll pick up the money with you. You've been very good to me tonight, and last night, and the night before, and on Sunday afternoon. Thank you very much for your time. And I know that they have coffee and cookies over there again, so feel free to go over there to the KFC Hall, should you so desire. you run out of books, we got more. I won't hear